take in, I give out, I let love, I let go, I release, and I know I forgive, I receive, I can feel, I believe, I am healed, I am whole, I release, I know. Breathe.
Sister Jenna is one of the purest, most sublime spirits I've encountered. Gentle voice, gentle sound, but booming spirit. She makes life more graspable. I listen to her, I see and sense and say to her and about her. She's a woman of good, a woman of God, a woman of elevated consciousness. I'm so glad to be a part of your life and that you are a part of mine and that we are all together a part of each other's. Peace and blessing.
Hello everyone, I'm Sister Jenna. A few years ago I had a vision. The vision was comprised of witnessing members of Congress really going through a very tumultuous time. I had envisioned that within the walls of Congress there were questions about trust between themselves, but there was also the question of trust with Americans and the leadership of the country. So I went about to search for members of Congress who would be open to share with me the depths of their heart, what was at the base of their conscience. And I came across some of the most beautiful people that I walked away with this experience that our country is in good hands. Here we are many years later, maybe about 4 or 5 years later, after I had actually initially recorded Soul Talk on the Hill. And we're witnessing stuff that we have never seen in the United States of America. Trust within the walls of the United States Congress is at the all-time lowest it has ever been. As you know, just a few weeks ago, there were riots on the Capitol Hill. It was an insurrection. There were a lot of people hurt emotionally, mentally, physically. Soul Talk on the Hill invites me into the walls of the halls of Capitol Hill to sit and have a heart-to-heart conversation with members of Congress about what matters to them the most, what's at the base of their heart, their character, the content of their deepest, most innermost feelings. Never before has there been a meditation expert or an emotional wellness expert or even a yogi soul, however you want to put me in whatever label you want to. But there's never been someone like me that's been given the trust and the honor to enter into the walls of Capitol Hill and have a heart-to-heart conversation with our congressional leaders. What I love about Soul Talk on the Hill, it makes us see them for who they really are. Put aside all the political jargon that goes on. We get to see really who are the people that are creating our policies, voting for our rights. These are good people. And given the opportunity to really speak from the depths of their heart, the country, our cities, our districts will continue to keep thriving. As See Good TV re-releases this season of Soul Talk on the Hill, it is my pure wish that you sit back and relax and enjoy each of the episodes. Just go into the content, the questions, their expressions. You learn a lot about these people. They're good people. For anyone right now, it's a hard time. Globally, in the United States, it might be even more so, one of the hardest times it has ever endured. But I know that we will prevail, and I know that we will succeed. Soul Talk on the Hill is to invite you to give our congressional members a second chance, to begin to find ways to communicate with them from matters of the heart and not matters of the political spectrum. What's more important than anything is what is the need of the time internally, and how does my conscience and my heart find peace in my choices? Soul Talk on the Hill asks important questions, and the congressional leaders gave very profound answers. If you've got any comments or anything you'd like to share, please feel free to let us know. We would love to hear your feedback. Soul Talk on the Hill is not endorsing any political parties or any candidate. It is simply having a heart-to-heart conversation with those who gave me the permission to come into the sacredness of their office and delve into their hearts. Enjoy Soul Talk on the Hill. Be well. Be safe. God bless you. Please, take care of yourselves. Welcome to the next normal and to your evening respite and your evening settling for the night. You know, it always gives me a delight to just meet with you and connect and share stories. Tonight's really, really special because every night is special. We have our wonderful returning guest and friend and family member, Dr. Kanu Kogod, and we're going to be talking about pure leadership and leading with the power of love. And I have to tell you that tomorrow, Ainsley McLeod is also going to be with us, and we're going to be touching on the kind of leadership that we've had, especially in the last month, and this transferal of power and what it also means at a soul level. So don't miss tomorrow. It's definitely going to be a winner. I can guarantee you on that one. But nowadays, people are looking for leadership, and a lot of us question what is real leadership. There's some that can be very, very aggressive, and there's some that can be so incognito, but they're leading in very profound ways, in ways that are really transforming the deeper aspects of the human soul. And I think that's going to be the session that we're going to touch on today in particular. I want to thank Dr. Kogod for coming on in such short notice. We've had one of those whirlwind days today, and it always gives me delight when you've cemented these relationships over time, and you can call on each other and just know that you won't get a pull air or like, what do you want me to do? I can't do it. It's like, yes, what do we do? Let's go. What's next? Because she's such a wizard in leading and guiding and facilitating and being. And I've often looked at Dr. Kanu Kogod as somebody who just leads by example. Her authenticity, her truthfulness, her demeanor. There's so many pluses about the way she shows up in the world. And she might not know this, but at such a deep level, my value is there for her in a myriad of ways. And so tonight, as we explore our discussion, may I invite you to get your pen and paper. I can assure you what Dr. Kogod has to offer you will be award-winning. These are programs and projects, you know. She'll offer to NASA, the World Bank, organizations, companies, the IMF. She's giving it to us free as a gift to our community. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to get your pen and paper and your pad or whatever, because you're not going to want to miss a moment of this. So for those of you who don't know Dr. Kanu Kogod, she's an anthropologist, but she's also traveled the world, and she just loves all faiths and all traditions. She lives a very, very spiritual life. She is a leadership expert and coach, but even beyond being a coach, she sets the example of what she speaks. And even if she feels she hasn't matched what she knows to be true, she'll be authentic enough to tell you, I'm working on that dimension. And that's great leadership right there. You know, so with all of the experience and expertise that she carries, it gives me a real warm feeling to welcome someone who I'm proud to call a friend, Dr. Kanu Kogod, to our next normal. Kanu, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sister Jenna. It's such a pleasure to be introduced by you. I'm completely moved by your comments, and yeah, it's just a wonderful opportunity to be here and share. And what I'm going to be talking about is a topic that is dear to me and to Sister Jenna, and it's so important for us now, this idea of pure leadership. I'm going to share some slides with you. So just give me a second to get this up and going, and then I'm going to. So I'll start with this idea. What is leadership? And we hear so much about leadership, and what makes pure leadership as opposed to all the other kinds of leadership that we hear. I think that pure leadership, it doesn't matter where you sit in the world, whether your status, your class is high or low. Can you influence a positive outcome? Can you move people to do their best, bring out the best in other people? That's what pure leadership really is. And so the true journey of leadership and searching really comes from having new eyes and seeing people in a whole new way. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So what is pure leadership? It's bringing out the best in another person. And as Sister Jenna said, it comes from instinct. It comes from a benevolent heart and an open mind, if you read the description of tonight's program. But my concern is, yes, we all come with a benevolent heart and an open mind. But what if our instinct is wrong? What if we've thrown ourselves off in some way and our instinct is not what we think it is, and we're moving in a direction that is not necessarily we're not necessarily even aware that that is happening. And so I've linked this idea of instinct with unconscious biases that we have. And this right now is probably one of the most important conversations that we could be having in the world. So again, wherever you sit, wherever you are in your organization, in your workplace, in your family, in your community, whatever kind of work you do, your voice is needed now. You really are. It's an important place for you to be. And if we're not aware of our limitations, of what gets in our way from showing up in a more valuable way in the world, we might mess up. And so I'm going to give you something tonight that's really powerful. And it's a way of understanding our reactions to things that is very different from anything you might have heard of before. So let me keep going and talk to you a little bit about unconscious bias. So, unconscious biases are basically social stereotypes about certain groups and people, individuals outside of our own group. And we may have biases about other people that we're not even aware of. And because we're not even aware that we hold these beliefs about other groups, other people, they become stereotypes. And these stereotypes are our way of categorizing the world. So it's a really important thing in pure leadership to be aware of, do I meet every person with an open heart and open mind? What are my unconscious beliefs that might be getting in my way? So we're going to do a fun little activity. Okay. This is really fun. And you're going to need the chat or just some place to write down. And I'm going to ask Sister Jenna if you would to monitor the chat for me. So we're going to play this game of categorizing, because all social stereotypes come from categorizing, and we are not even aware, as I said, because most of these categories we've learned at a very young age. They come from our family, they come from our religious beliefs, they've come from TV, they've come from the media. We've learned certain behaviors and beliefs that we that get in our way, and we have to become aware of them. So this is a way to see how steeped we are in certain categories that are in our mind. So I'm going to name a category. This first category is tree. And when I say tree, what's the first tree you think of? Just write it down really fast in the chat. What's the first? Don't even think about it. Just write down the first tree that you think of. Okay, are we getting some, Sister Jenna? Are people writing?
But there'll always be a little delay. But for me, I imagine Daddy Prakashmani tree on Capitol Hill.
What kind of tree is it?
It's a weeping cherry.
Okay, but if I just asked you from your childhood, what's the first tree you think of? What would it be?
Coconut.
Okay. Okay, so if you're listening in the program,
Yes, some folks are saying the tree of life, maple, Christmas, oak, forest, mango. Someone said a fig tree, apple tree, bougainvillea.
Bougainvillea. Oh, good. Okay, we got some tropical people.
Nice trees.
Here's what I thought you would say: pine, oak, maple, and maybe palm or coconut tree.
Some said pine, oak, and maple.
Yeah.
But not palm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But somebody said coconut.
Okay, I said coconut. Oh yeah, I guess
palm.
that's the same. Yeah.
Okay, so the idea here is to do it really quickly. As
Really
soon as
fast.
you hear, like, it's the first thing that comes into your mind. It's not like your favorite wonderful thing. It's the first thing in that category that you think of. Okay, so you got the idea now. Here we go. Here's our second one. What's the first color you think of? Just write it down really fast.
First color, everyone. I have to say, mine was black. It's so interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. And then it was interesting because I caught myself and I was going to go, oh, white, because I wear white all the time.
Uh-huh.
But I just thought, when you said color, the first thing that came was black.
Okay.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, very.
We've got blue, we've got red. Annette is saying red. Abby's saying blue. Asmita says red. S. Watson says purple. Yellow. Louise says white. Indu says white. Lauren says blue, purple, blue, red, white, red, 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 white, pink, blue, red. Sounds like a song. Blue, red, white, pink, poo, poo, purple.
Here's what I thought you would say, red and blue. Here's what I thought you might be saying. So it would be red, blue, and then maybe purple or green. And for people in Africa, you might appreciate this, Sister Jenna. Their first categories are black and white. From people from India, it might be black and white that are your first categories. So it's culturally, the categories are cultural.
Are you telling me the truth?
I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth.
Fascinates me what you just said. Everyone, did you hear that?
It's cultural.
Amazing.
It's what we first learn, and what we first learn is red, blue.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what our parents teach us usually in the Western countries. Those are our first colors. Okay, flower. What's the first flower you think of? Okay, Sister Jenna, shout it out without thinking.
Gardenia.
You're thinking.
Gardenia.
Gardenia. Okay.
Gardenia. Gardenia.
Okay, good.
Gardenia.
Gardenia.
I had a long day
Okay,
today.
everybody.
Please forgive me.
That's okay. You're breaking all my ideas here. It's lovely. Okay, what's the first flower you think of, everyone? Did you write it down? Sister Jenna, what do we got? What are people saying?
See, a buttercup. So you've got rose, jasmine, rose, lily, tulip, jasmine, rose, daisy, rose, 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 and sunflower.
Okay.
And magnolias.
And magnolia. Well, here's what I thought you would say. Rose, lily, sunflower, daisy. So I definitely did not get gardenia.
Off today.
Well, I think it's really, it's about how we've been acculturated. And that's the most important thing, because these categories come to us from a very young age. They really are the first things we learn in those categories, and we learn to fit things into categories to shortcut our thinking. And sometimes these shortcuts get in our way. Okay, furniture. When I say furniture, what's the first furniture you think of, Sister Jenna?
Sofa.
Okay, good. Finally.
I got one.
What do people write?
What does everyone think? Let me see it in the chat. Sofa. Divyani said sofa. It's coming in slowly but surely. See, people are thinking. Furniture.
They're thinking
which
too
one?
much.
Table, chair, sofa, 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 rocking chair, chair, sofa, dofa, table, chair, sofa, sofa, chair, chair, sofa. That's it.
That's it.
Chair and
Okay,
sofa.
here we got sofa, chair, table, couch, sofa, table. Yeah, couch, chair, sofa, whatever you want to call it, couch or sofa. Yeah, there we have it. So we got that one. Those are the first categories of furniture that we learned. Okay, we have one more, and this one is going to be fun. So again, as soon as you hear it, without thinking, just write down what category this one fits in. Okay, tool. When I say tool, what's the first tool you can write down in the chat?
Mine is power drill.
Okay, good.
Did I not get that either? You're asking me for my first thought. I'm being extremely honest.
Yes, no, it's great. Those are perfect. There's no wrong answer here.
Okay,
There's no wrong answer.
So
There
everyone,
really
what's your first tool? You can see I've done some work with tools, and I've used the power drill a lot. Hammer, screwdriver, pliers, hammer, screwdriver, wrench, tape measure. Oh, that's a good one, Denise Oliveri. Tape measure. You're coming in my category now. Now you know a tape measure is not going to be in the answer. What else? Hammer, screwdriver, tape measure. I think that's it. Pliers.
Okay, good. Here's what I thought you'd say: screwdriver, hammer, wrench. And the reason, and power drill, I have to tell you, Sister Jenna,
My power drill.
I would have put power drill in there because I have done this with groups and people say power drill. So I promise
But
you,
if you've
power
done it
drill
with a
would have
lot of
worked.
men, they would have said power drill.
Yes, that's true.
my
But
male
if you can
samskaras.
see, this picture didn't include a power drill, and I should have like taped one in there and got it, cut and paste one in there. That would have been in the answer. So, and yet, think about it for a minute. These are tools that we learned early on. Yet, how many of us actually use any of these tools every day? What are the tools that we actually use every day? For me, this is a tool I use every day, and I'm sure all of us do. For most of us, it's a computer that we use every day. We don't even think about it as a tool. It's the tool that we use the most. And so some things just drop out of our conscious awareness. And that's the point of this little exercise, is how we just may not even be aware of some of the biases that we carry. And that keeps us from really having pure leadership and really
I
being
get that.
open to so many people.
I get that. You get so limited and you think only what you know is the only way. And I have to tell a story, and it might be going a little bit off, but I think everyone
Please
will
go
appreciate
on.
it. When Santosh had first come to America, it was about maybe 2 years later, and he started to live with me, I think about 2 years or so later. And so I'm getting to learn about him, and I'm sure he's getting to learn about me. And I remembered asking him to get me a screwdriver. And he went downstairs, and what he brought up was the spatula. And I looked at him and I went, I need a screwdriver. And he smiled, Santosh, and he smiled, and he went back downstairs and he brought up like a hanger. And I just looked at him and I said, oh, he's looking at me. And I'm saying, you don't know what a screwdriver is? And he just smiled and he just did. And I had forgotten, I never thought about this actually, didn't forget, but I realized he had never used a tool.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to make sure you could believe it, because it was a shocker for me.
I can believe it. Yes, I believe it. And it's true. These are the things that we take for granted. And we think that the other person knows what we know. That's another way that we have bias, because I know that I am really guilty of this. When you said before, about me being authentic, I am so guilty of this. I think people know what I know. And I get so surprised when they don't know what I know. And it sort of baffles me. Like, it's almost a little self-righteousness. Like, how could you not know that? And I have to really catch myself on that, because it's a way of holding each other to standards that, are cultural. They really come from our cultural background. And it's prejudice. It really is pure prejudice when it comes
Very
out like
true.
that.
Very
Yeah.
true. What next?
Okay. Where does unconscious bias come from? This is one of my favorite little tools, and it is called the Johari window. People who work in organizations know this. It's a 4-quadrant model, and and I'm going to use my little mouse and point to things with the mouse. So this is what's known to me, what you can see about me, and what I've told you about myself. So this is everything that's known to me and known to you. The bottom quadrant here is everything that is hidden to you and it's private, that I keep inside. Like, for example, you would never know that I trekked up a really high mountain in Peru, fell down, rolled down the mountain, broke 4 ribs and punctured a lung. Now, I'm telling you something that tells you a lot about me in that little story. It means that I'm sort of an adventurer. I love mountains. I was clumsy. I fell down. If I told you the whole story, you'd be laughing. Those are the ways that we get to know each other, though. And this is really important. The more distinctions that you can make about another person, the more you break down the mindset of prejudice. So, what that means in reality is I just told you something about me. So, you might not see me so much as just a white middle aged woman now. And you might not see me just so much as a white privileged woman. You might look at me and have some different assessments and say, oh, she's an adventurer. Oh, this and that. So it's the things that you don't know about me. For example, my father was a Holocaust survivor. That has really shaped what I've decided to do with my life. So it's the more we know about another person, the more we break down the mindset of prejudice. And this is really important. This quadrant, this upper right-hand quadrant is the blind spot. And it's what other people can see about us that we can't see about ourselves. So um, in your beautiful introduction, Sister Jenna, there were places where you're saying really nice things about me. I would have said, no, come on now. I would have said, you know me. And that's how we are. So it's like things that other people see about us are good things, are good qualities, and maybe are not so good qualities that other people can see that we might be blind to. And the things that are both unknown to us and unknown to other people. This whole little model was created by Joseph Luft and Harry Ingram. And so self-awareness is about getting to open up these places where we can choose what we share with others, but we can open up this open public place. That's what it means to be open-hearted and open-minded. Taking it back to the idea of pure leadership. It's making our feelings known, revealing your feelings. It's good to share your feelings in the appropriate way, not to whine and complain. However, to let people know what you're feeling is a good thing. To share your experience, to let your voice be heard and share experiences that are helpful to other people. Um, Beliefs, views, and attitudes.
Can I come in here?
Yes,
Because
please, please.
on a
Come in.
cultural level, let's say Indian culture, that's just not something we do a lot. Now it's changing a lot, I have to tell you. And I'm just remembering, even in my own journey, how transparent and open I have been, even in my own spiritual community. And it's always been a little bit kind of taken aback, like that's TMI. And I'm not saying anything negative or wrong. I'm actually just expressing that maybe I don't feel safe, or I don't feel happy, or I feel a little bit, annoyed. I mean, whatever it is, I'm not saying I've said that. But it's almost as if you're not supposed to. How do you
Right.
overcome that?
That's so beautiful. It's to at first to even know that you're doing it and seeing the reaction of other people, and then asking them, I notice you're reacting. What are you reacting to? Is it really TMI? Is it really too much information that I'm giving you? I think sometimes when we share, and I tend to be a self-disclosing person as well, it also makes other people feel safe to share what they may not be able to share. So it's very cultural. This is what, again, what we've learned in childhood in our families. Some families do not talk about anything that happens inside the family. They would never share anything that happens inside the family. And it's really then choosing, okay, is this a safe place? Is this good am I making a contribution in this moment to something greater? Is there an experience that I'm creating of safety, of openness, open-heartedness, am I sharing something that might uplift and inspire another person? That's when it's really helpful to share. Skills, that's another area where we can become more aware of the things that we can do that we didn't even realize that we can do. And then all of a sudden, people wonder, like, how did Amanda Gorman, and I'd love for you to comment on this, Sister Jenna, how did Amanda Gorman stand up at 22 years old in front of the whole world and give that beautiful poem? Where did all that wisdom, all that knowledge come from, that she could share her beliefs, that she had the skill of poetry? Do you want to say something here, Sister Jenna?
Yeah, definitely. It's her destiny, it's her
Uh-huh.
part, but also she has invested time in her words. This is a person that you got the content of her character, that she is a person who's heavily invested in words. So she wasn't worrying about a million people. She wasn't superficial. She was more invested in the content of how she shows up in the world. And as you can see, the whole world responded.
Yeah. So beautiful. And I hope that that's a lesson for all of us in our leadership, that she learned to stand up in spite of a speech impediment, in spite of uh, being the daughter of a single woman, and in spite of being a part of a group that has always in our country been marginalized and
And
been
vilified.
taken about. Yes, exactly. So she had the courage to stand up. It's powerful that we have a young role model like this. And so it's really also important to know what our intentions and our motivation is for speaking. You know, is our intention that for the highest good? Sometimes we say something and the impact on someone else is hurtful or harmful. And as soon as we see that, we can't defend ourselves. The most important thing we can do in that moment is being able to apologize and being able to ask a question. What could I have done better? What hurt you? What did I say that was harmful? I need to learn. So be open when you make a mistake with another person, especially a person who's different from you. Your intention was good, but it came out wrong. That's going to happen for all of us. So what we can do is step back a moment and ask a question. Our biases are there. They are unknown to us and they come out in a moment. And that's what we want to learn in pure leadership, how to mitigate those biases. So one way is to increase connection and collaboration with other people and make this quadrant more open. What people see and what you share in a way that Sister Jenna was just talking about, making it safe um, for other people to also share. Um, and being
Can I
open
ask
more.
you,
Yes, please.
can I go back? It's the same slide, but there is
This one.
something, and I'm sure everyone is feeling the same. What you've offered us is something so powerful that I wish we could stay in here for an hour because, okay, when you say known to me, the public open, like how, what is that? So would you say like known to me is that I am a doctor, I am a woman, I'm a mother?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
All
those
right.
roles. Yes.
Okay. And unknown to me, when you say the blind spot, what is that like?
A blind spot is something that you can see about me that I can't see about myself. So it could be a positive, a negative. It's something that I'm blind to. Like a good example might be I could be blind to the idea that I'm constantly licking my lips or pulling my hair, or I have some nervous gesture that you can so plainly see that I'm doing, and it's not
You
even,
see me
I'm
do that
not
all the
even
time,
aware.
don't you?
Yeah,
You
that I
see me
pull
do
on my
that, right?
hair. Yeah,
No, it's true though. So the blind spot is that I can't see it,
yeah,
but you can see it.
absolutely.
And do you find that sometimes when somebody calls you out on something, let's say you value or don't value that person's idea of you, does that hurt you? Because if they're saying, "Oh, you're always like that," which we know is not true, because nobody is always like something.
Right.
But when they do say, Sister Jenna, you talk too much, or your lips are too fat, or you twirl your hair, and I'm like, no, I don't. How do you help that person? Do
How
you?
do you help the person not be so defensive
Yeah.
about the blind spot being It's a difficult thing because we don't want to be criticized. Nobody wants to be criticized. They don't want to feel bad about themselves. They don't want to create any harm. None of us wants to do that. Um, it's something we have to work on in ourselves if we really want to have pure leadership.
Yes, I guess it
We
requires a
have to
lot of
be,
honesty too with the self.
yeah,
Yeah,
a lot of honesty and openness to feedback. It's
yeah.
take it as feedback. I was talking to our good friend Reverend Sylvia about this, and we were talking about taking personally criticism of other people, and I gave her this little idea, and it's good for everyone. When we take it too personally, when we've been criticized, rightly or wrongly, it's the criticism that hurts. It's called Q-tip. So if you own a Q-tip, quit taking it personally. Okay. Put a Q-tip on your mirror and it stands for quit taking it personally. If somebody's pointing out something from you, you can thank them and say, gosh, I didn't even realize that. Thank you so much for showing that to me.
Well, let's look at the hidden private aspect because this is the big one.
Yes.
It's that part of you that you don't want anyone to see, but don't they see that anyway? Don't people catch that in your aura or your vibrations?
That would be in your blind spot. Hidden private is something I don't want you to know about me. It's a secret, something I might be ashamed of, something that I wouldn't want anybody to know, something I wouldn't want to have shared with anybody. And no matter what you ask me, it's not going to come out. So you would never know that. You might know, you might guess, let's say I had had some trauma in my childhood. Let's say I was abused in my childhood. I'm never going to tell you about my abuse if I'm keeping it hidden and private. I wouldn't want you to know. Yes, you could feel it, and I might be blind to it, that you could feel that in my aura, but your interpretation of it would be very different from my interpretation of it. And that's the key. So you might see something, but might not know where it came from, and I might keep that private. So that's the idea here.
I like that. I like that very much. I've been telling you how I've been having this deep emotional, I don't know if it's a spillage, but just this desire or need to be back in India. And I've been so flustered by my inability to stop this emotion from emerging. And it happens, I can be having breakfast, Kanu, and I see maybe an Indian item on the table, or I hear an Indian song, and while I'm eating, I just feel like emotions come over me. And it's been so interesting because I just don't know where it's coming from, but I know it's from a past, there's no doubt. I know it's a past recording that is trying to signal something to me to either release or embrace. But it's been so interesting to me, and it's been like an ongoing process. It might go into the unknown unconscious that I'm talking about, but it's been quite an interesting journey recently.
I think what's happening for many of us is that our tendencies, and I know this is true for me. I started reliving an experience that I didn't even realize was traumatic for me. I completely forgot about it, and then my friend asked me about a trauma that I had experienced that was really hurtful for me, and I had to think for a minute, and then I got it, and it was like, wow, it's so good that I brought that memory back up because I can then reframe it, see it differently from this place where I am now, and see how perfect that experience was for my learning and who I am now. And I'm actually grateful for the suffering and the hurt that I felt then because I wouldn't be who I am now.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, thank you so
Okay,
much.
all
Everyone's
right.
enjoying? Give me some thumbs up. Everyone's okay? It looks like we might go over a little bit. I'm so sorry to say that, but it's 7:12 now, so
Oh my
apologies, Kanu.
goodness. Okay.
Apologies.
That's all right. I'm gonna speed through to the part that where I really wanted to give you something fantastic tonight, which I'm really excited about. And let me just go quickly then. This is a quote that I love. It's nonverbal communication is uh, an elaborate secret code that is written nowhere, known by none, and understood by all. So we understand this. We understand this. We understand this. We understand nonverbal communication. We get it. And I love this quote because this is where I want us to explore. Because before a word even comes out of our mouth, there's an energy that we're feeling, and we may not always be aware of how our energy shapes our feelings and our words. So, in what way can I become more aware of my conscious, my conscious bias? So, I'm going to just take you quickly through this little exercise, constructive inquiry. Ask yourself when you meet a person who's different from you and you have a little reaction to them. It could be they could have said something from the outside. That's a trigger reaction. If you just know that they're a part of a group that you might have a bias against, that's a blink reaction that Malcolm Gladwell talked about in his book called Blink. And he described it really well, where there's a gender bias that in an orchestra where the people who were choosing who could be new members of an orchestra couldn't see the gender of the player, they were more likely to choose a woman. They would choose the best player, not just choose the man. So it shows up, and blink is just our first automatic bias. So ask yourself, what if I don't really know? And what if I misunderstood what I heard? And what if I'm basing my opinion on this person or this experience based on a past belief or a one-time experience, and I'm expecting somebody to behave to my standards? So that's a constructive inquiry for us to all have. And we do it with a mindful pause. And do I have enough time for us to do a little mindful pause here, or should I skip,
No,
Sister
I would
Jen?
love that. And again, even if we run over, I think those who have to go, they will go. But I think this is way too rich to rush through as well. And so I'm okay if we go over 10 minutes or 15 minutes tonight.
Okay, great. I'm going to try to keep us moving. I would like to say something about the mindful pause. I noticed this. I noticed this on a Zoom call that I was on actually this afternoon after I did something else. I was on this Zoom call, and a lot of people were making comments about what the speaker was saying. And I noticed that I got really quiet and I didn't say anything. And I really had to take that pause and think about, what if I really don't know? I'm hearing what the speaker is saying. What if I really don't know the stories that he's saying, that he's talking about? This was a beautiful African American man who was talking about his early childhood experiences. And what if I don't really know how they've affected him now? He gave me a little opening of his past experience and his childhood experience. But what if I don't really understand? What if I'm seeing through my own filter and I don't really hear everything that he said? So the mindful pause is so important before we speak. But sometimes it's just critical that we make that mindful pause and don't just react. It's paying attention to yourself and your environment without judgment of good or bad or right or wrong. So let's just try it this moment. Just let yourself feel your feet on the floor. And while you're looking at the screen and you're looking at the computer, also soften your eyes so that you can see the background behind you and you can actually open your vision to something larger. So you can see the whole room, and actually bring your hands up so you can see your hands to, even though you're looking forward, you can see your hands out of the side of your eyes. That changes your brain, and it starts to put you in what's known as a parasympathetic uh, state. And it's a much more calm and relaxed state. So just softening your eyes, even with your eyes open, feeling your feet on the ground and breathing and being aware of all the sensations that you're feeling in your body right now. maybe a little hungry, a little tired, a little distracted. Be aware of the sensations that you feel, and at the same time, aware of your environment. And just let it be. There's no judgment. There's no good or bad or right or wrong. Just notice what you're noticing. And that's the mindful pause. It's bringing yourself to this moment fully. I love the BK's idea of traffic control, because traffic control, every minute on the hour, we can just pause and notice. And not just wait until the pause is over, really pause. Become aware of your inner experience and your outer environment. So it's pause, it's take a deep breath, it's shift your attention, become aware of the sensations in your body, soften your gaze. And it's so simple. So notice just right now how you feel differently. And if you want to, put it in the chat. Just notice, like in this moment, in what way do you feel different than you did before we did this? Did something slow down? Did something change? I hope so. So before we speak, the pause is good. So now we're going to do a little reflection. So you're going to need paper and pencil. And this is important. It's the idea of how to get a sense of how energetic biases are a part of social interaction and work, and to become more aware of them. I'm sorry for the typo here. I prepared, as Sister Jenna said, I prepared in nanosecond before we got started, maybe an hour before we got started. So apologize for the typo. We're going to talk about energetic biases, how our energy affects how we move in social interaction. So first thing is, you're going to think about a situation that you've had with somebody who's different from you. Could be different gender, could be somebody close to you or somebody at work, could be a spouse, it could be your difficult Uncle Chuck. It could be anybody that you want that is different from you and that you have some maybe negative assessments about, that you have some judgment about them. And so just think of that person, and then with your pencil and paper, just ask yourself this question: how do I know if what I think is really true? So you're taking one little slice of, I'm just going to call it Uncle Chuck for now. You're taking one little slice of Uncle Chuck and the way you see him show up at family dinners. And this could be anybody in your life. So just remember, I'm just giving you an example here. What if there's something you don't know about Uncle Chuck, and what you think is not really what is really going on with Uncle Chuck? What about something else is going on? Sometimes people's behavior is really affected by their mental state. Maybe a too much stress, maybe a physical disease that causes people to lose some part of the brain that is the one that's the overseer of our brain. And we say things in reaction that because we're just not even aware that that's happening. That's the blind spot. So let's just ask ourselves, how do I know if what I think is really true? Next question: on what basis am I making my assessment? If I'm making my assessment about Uncle Chuck, my difficult uncle, based on the Thanksgiving dinners I've had or the Christmas dinners that I've had with him in the past 10 years, is that the only way that I know about him? And I'm making my assessment on what other people say about Uncle Chuck or this person at work? Am I basing a lot of my opinion on who they are based on other people's opinions? What if there's evidence about this person that I haven't considered? What if I got to know them better and I learned more distinctions about this person, and I could actually break down this mindset of prejudice? Because as I said before, the more you know about somebody, the more you break down the mindset of prejudice. So what could you know more? How could you get curious with this difficult person in your life and get some new knowledge of things that might have happened that you never considered. And you want to do it with permission and in a trustful way. So you don't want to pry. However, you want to establish a trusting relationship, and that would be great. What if you're only seeing part of the picture? We already talked about this a little bit. You're only seeing this person from time to time. You're only seeing them in one context. They could be completely different outside of work. The person in your family who's really difficult could be the most charming person at a party. What if you're only seeing part of the picture? What if this person is completely different in another context, like I was just saying? And what is the impact of my thinking about this person, especially at work? So if I have a small picture of somebody, my thinking about them is really going to color how I think, how I approach them. They're going to feel the energy, even if I never say it, even if I never let them know. I have a friend who is a lobbyist on chemical poisonings and pollution, and she works for the state of Maryland, and she was trying to get a bill passed to protect the bees. And this person who was a politician would not give her the time of day, and he was the person who was most concerned with about environment. And what she did is she sat outside of his office for 3 weeks at the end of the day when she knew that he was going to be passing and leaving his office. She just sat there, didn't say anything, and she sent him loving kindness thoughts. She just put positive energy. And he said, I've seen you sitting here so many days, finally, after she did it for a while. I think it was a couple of weeks. And he said, you've been sitting here. I know you want to talk to me. Okay, what is it? And because her energy had changed, he became open to her. And this is so important in the way we approach people. So the four energies in all social interaction, you know who I learned this from, Sister Jenna? Michelle Shea.
And she just texted me.
Did she really?
She was saying that she wanted you to know that whatever seems right in the moment, she knows for her as a Black woman, not having what's happened reflected back in acknowledgement or apology makes it seem not real. It just occurred to me after watching the show, those people must be in tremendous pain to have stormed the Capitol. Riot being the voice of the unheard, to quote MLK, and their leaders' words stoked that, so leading with love has got to have teeth in it these days, or something really deep to connect with the souls inside the other side. Question mark, exclamation point. She says, I'm still working on this.
I want to pick up on the two things that she said at the very beginning that I know from the people I am closest to who are different from me in race and gender, that the most important, especially race, especially now, the most important thing that I can do is acknowledge what she said about acknowledgement and apology. The most important thing we can do as a country right now is acknowledge the pain that our Black, as white people, Black brothers and sisters have suffered for generations, generations and generations, centuries in this country. And if we don't fix this now, we will never be able to have pure, loving leadership.
Jump in here because it's not even as African Americans this is my assessment, even though I'm not African American, I feel I am African American because I was raised here. I don't even feel like the question is, you must acknowledge what we're going through, but the way I've looked at this, Kanu, is that it's the strength of the spirit, of the African spirit, that has endured what it has endured, and still they rise. And even though there's still a pocket that's under the influence of what has been given, the systemic, dumbing down of them. Mm-hmm. I still see them coming up as well. And so one is that, yes, when there is an observation that Caucasians are recognizing, you know, what our predecessors have done was awful. And that they step in to say, let me help, like what President Biden has done by electing
Yes.
the first African American woman to the White House.
Yes.
And how he's bringing, you know, equality and all of that stuff. It's that I now see, and we've got to do something about it. And I feel African Americans will continue to rise and show the strength of the spirit, with or without the apology. But the apology makes it feel like, okay, together we rise.
Yes.
Together we
Yes.
grow. And that's how I look at it. And I could be wrong, guys.
No, I
Give me
beautiful.
some
I think
quotes in the comment and tell me what you think. You'd be like, you Jamaican African, Sister Jenna. That don't count. But I'm just saying that when I'm with you and I'm on the journey with you, it's not that I need you to say sorry. I'm going to rise. But if you do, it just makes me feel like, okay, so we're in this together. We're going to grow together.
Yeah.
That's where I see it.
Yeah.
Just wanted to put that little.
Please
tidbits
put
in.
it, please put it there. Yeah, it's critical. And that acknowledgement that I am with you, I can stand with you, I am for you. I think the pandemic was a great gift for many of us because we were at home and we saw George Floyd's murder. And because of that, white people really woke up and took to the streets. And that was a huge sea change. And I think Biden, our new president, is just really picking up on that sea change and going with where the demographics of the country are changing, where we all want to make this a country for everyone, where the Statue of Liberty really means something again. So let me shift and talk about these four energies. And I do want to acknowledge our dear friend, Michelle Shea, because I learned these from her. She's an incredible actress. She's been on Broadway. She's taught at Juilliard, Yale, Columbia, NYU. She's about to teach at University of Southern California. She's an amazing person. She's directed. I can't say enough about Michelle Shea. I've learned so much from her. And this is something she taught me about the energies that actors use. And so I picked up on her idea and I just enlarged it. And I'm sharing that with you because I think if we understand what actors already understand, these four energies are always in all social interaction: push, pull, stop, and allow. They're always going on. We're pushing towards something, we're pulling and attracting things toward us, we're allowing things to happen, or we're stopping things. And these four energies are always present. I put an archetype in there so it's easier to understand. Pull is the energy of attraction, and it's also water. It's adaptable. There's attractive energy and adaptable energy in it, and it's the energy of the lover. As a lover, I mean that a lover of the world, when we love the world or we love a partner, we shape ourselves to that other person. We adapt, we become a part of that. There's an attractive force. When we are creating a vision, we have a pull toward getting toward that vision, and we have a vision for a better world and pure leadership. Push is in its best form is expressed by the hero who's on a journey, who's getting to doing something big in the world, and there's determination in it. There's a push forward in a positive way. Like, I know that I can influence an outcome. And that's so important for all of us to know that we can influence a bigger outcome at this time. You know, there's a saying that is so important: when things are the most chaotic, which they are right now, that is the opportunity for the greatest change to happen. So if you, wherever you sit in your organization, in your family, like I said before, in your community, wherever you sit, you can be a hero. You can have a vision of a better world and push toward that vision by influencing an outcome. It could be the simplest thing. It could be giving a meal to someone who's hungry. That's a beautiful influencing of an outcome. Stop is stability. It's grounding. It's the place that allows us to feel our feet, get back in touch with things. It's our ability to create boundaries and say, this is okay and this is not okay. It's not okay to storm the Capitol. We have to stop. That's not okay. That's a good stop energy. It creates stability. And the archetype for that is the ruler. Allow is flexibility, and allow energy is the energy of the wizard or the magician, and it allows us to move. It's like the wind. I want to show you the shadow side because this is really important. I'm looking at the time. I'm sorry, Sister Jenna. I'm going to just do this real quick. And I'm going to ask everyone to play particular attention to this part, because this is where our unconscious biases can show up and where we might not see what we're not aware of. And what we want to be aware of is our energy. If I'm grasping and complaining and being a victim, I am not in pure leadership. I am not open-hearted. I am not open-minded. So grasping is pulling when we're whining and complaining. So watch yourself. When are you whining and complaining and it's not serving anything? It's just taking up space. Watch when you are being impatient or aggressive and you feel too much push energy and there's a bully. And we know what a bully looks like. We have plenty of leaders we could look at who've been bullies around the world. We know what a bully looks like. It's aggressive. It's things that they want for themselves. It's that push energy, and they will do whatever it takes to keep power. Allow energy can, on its shadow side, can be either manipulative or allow too much and be too tolerant and being a pushover. So you can be a manipulator or you could be a pushover, and with too much manipulation, too much allow energy. Too tolerant means that I could let anybody say whatever they want to me and I might hover. None of us can afford to do that now. None of us. That's not the kind of allow energy we want. Stop energy is a stubbornness and a controlling, and it's what the dictator does is get controlling and wants control of things. So I'm going to ask you to take out your pencil and paper right now. Do you want to say anything here, Sister Jenna, before we get into the exercise and complete?
No, that's fine. It's just because of timing, but we're good.
Okay, so what are thinking about that difficult relationship that might be in your life? What are the one or two primary combinations of energies you might be using? And I'm going to leave it here so you can see. What are the one or two energies that you might be using in this situation with this difficult person? And what are the one or two energies that person uh, is exhibiting? And if you just put it in the chat box, you can say mine and theirs. Like, for example, I've had a difficult relationship with my son for a long time, and I used to allow too much, be too tolerant, let him say things to me, and just listen because he just seemed to need to vent. And then I would just get really upset, and I would want to stop him, and I would withdraw. So I was too allow, and then I would stop. So it was a difficult relationship for me. And now we're right in the middle. Now we're doing a dance of all four energies right now. And that's what it means to be centered. So write down what is and put it in the chat and write it down for yourself. What energy shows up before you even open your mouth when you're with your difficult Uncle Chuck or that challenging person? Just be aware of that, your energy and theirs. And then start to think, if you've already written it down, begin to think, what is the antidote? If I changed my energy, what would allow them to change? So I told you about my friend who just gave loving kindness to the politician. If you just gave loving kindness to, instead of trying to manipulate or control or complain about the difficult person in your life, what would happen? What antidote could you choose? And I'm going to go back up to here. What antidote could you choose that might change the relationship. And write that down. Just be aware that you can use these energies as antidotes, like a vaccine. Okay, I'm going to inject in this relationship this vaccine that has never been there before, and it's going to heal the relationship. If there's too much of this, how can we move toward this? So think of your antidote. Okay, you got your antidote? All right, so just remember that these are energies that might be habitual energies that you use under stress, and begin to use more mindful pause. I'm just going to give you some ideas and tips for what your takeaway is for today. And be aware that you might have habitual energies that you're using, and you want to let go of these. And you can write your habitual energies in the chat and see what the antidote might be to your habitual energies as we close. So, pure leadership. This is the last thing I want to say to you, is my last comment. Now is the perfect time to take a stand for peace, love, and compassion. So I hope you take that away. Now is the perfect time to take a stand for peace, love, and compassion. Use your voice to put more love in the world, to put more peace in the world, to be more compassionate in situations. Let your voice be heard. Now is the time, the perfect time to step forward and influence an outcome. Now is the perfect time to contribute to your vision of a better world and make it happen. And I turn it all back to you, Sister Jenna. Thanks for letting me go over.
Oh, bravo, 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 everyone.
Thank you.
Give Dr. Kogad a big hand of applause. It is such a rich process, Kanu, that you've taken us in. And, I'm sorry that we even had to rush through it, because there is so much in it that I think gave many of us some insights into ourselves. Everyone online is giving a huge thumbs up, a huge fingers up, like, yes, this is great, this is fantastic. So we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I've taken away so much, as I always have. And again, I just want to go back into that push, pull, allow, stop model, and really go deeper into it, because we do go through those 4 stages every day.
From moment to moment.
Exactly. And to be able to even master it when I say, I want to push, I want to pull, with all the strengthening qualities that there are, not the shadow sides. I mean, eventually our effort is to move away from the shadow side and serve it less than we do now. So yes, for sure. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts, and everyone out there in online virtual land on YouTube. I hope today has been one of richness and insightfulness, and that you've really taken away something. I think this is one of those shows that you would like to replay and scroll back again and go, what did she say? What did she say? What did she say? What did she say? Because it's going to really help you to take your life to that next leap, that next step. So thanks again for tuning in, and I appreciate you taking this extra 15 minutes with us at the end of the program. Remember to press the like button, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, do so now. Lots of love, lots of peace, lots of power to you. Om Shanti, sweet dreams, good night, namaste. If you're in another part of the world, good morning, namaste. Take care. Hi everyone, it's Sister Jenna from America Meditating Radio. I hope you've been enjoying Wiseish, which you can get live on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube from 8:30 a.m. to 8:45. But you can also get it on demand 24/7. It's going to be your power boost for the morning. It's your daily dose for the soul. It's just going to encourage you to make the day that much more valuable. So join us. Looking forward to seeing you.
Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day. Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day. Spirit, thank you for this day. my wonderful